Hi, I'm Paul McCormack, artist from New York, primarily known for my portraits in oil and my portraits in watercolor. I'm going to give you a little free lesson here on the basics of drawing a portrait, okay? Just correct proportions. Proportion is everything, okay? I don't care if you can render an eye where it looks like it's going to blink. If it's in the wrong place, it doesn't really matter, does it? So, what I'm going to do is, this is kind of like an alla prima style. I'm working on the ampersand gesso board. Okay, I like these gesso boards for little studies, smaller works. For larger things and commissions, I normally work on linen. It's toned with raw umber and ivory black, and it's always best to tone your board or your canvas, 2 days prior. Unfortunately, I had to tone mine this morning, so it's still a little wet. Hopefully, it won't interfere with our little demonstration here. Okay, I'm using straight ivory black and #1 bristle brush and a little bit of terps. We're going to start to draw out the head. Now I'm going to draw the head about life size, which is about, say 8.5 inches. Okay, so at arm's length, what I'm going to start with is the basic shape of the head inside the hairline. Also note that I'm using the side of the brush, okay? I'm picking up the paint, I'm flattening out the brush like a chisel. This way you get nice, fine lines. Now I'm starting off with very straight lines. Stay away from rounded lines. And reason being is that you can simply take your brush, line it up to the side of the face, and you could just transfer that angle precisely to your canvas or your board. Now, don't be overly concerned with this basic shape of the head. We can always alter it later because I'm really going to be working from the inside out, which you'll see in a couple minutes. And I should also introduce our model. Our model, Meredith, was kind enough to pose for us today. Okay, so just the basic shape of the head inside the hairline. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my center line. This is the line that goes through the center of the forehead, center of the bottom middle of the nose and the mouth. I'm just going to take my brush and kind of get a feel for that line in the placement. I'm going to come over here and just draw a very light line. Now I'm going to get the eye line. And the eye line is basically from corner to corner, outside corners of the eye. And get those in. Okay. Now, at this point, as in drawing anything, we need to establish a proportion that's correct. Okay, this way we could base all our other proportions on that. So the proportion that I'm going to start with is the eye-nose relationship. Corner of the eye, bottom middle nose, outside corner of the other eye. And we're going to be using angles to do that. Okay, so right now I'm just going to estimate where the one eye ends on the outside corner. And if I run a plumb line, I could see that it's right about there. So we put a little mark. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an angle from this corner to the bottom middle of the nose. And we do that by putting our arm out straight, locking it, and I'm lining up my brush, lining up this line with these 2 points so they hit the brush handle. And go like that. And come over like this onto the line, the mark on the eye. See where it crosses our center line, and simply put a mark. I'm going to go back and check it, make sure it's right. And now we're going to go from this point to the outside corner of the other eye. Again, I line up my brush. And remember, keep your arm locked straight. If you keep your arm bent, you have more of a chance by the time you get over here that your arm is going to kind of do this sort of thing. But if it's straight and you move your body, that angle is not going to move at all. Bring it down to the point of the nose, see where it crosses the eye line, put a mark. Go back, check it, recheck it, check it again, make sure it's absolutely right, because if this proportion's wrong, everything will pretty much be wrong. Okay, now from there, very simply, we're going to put in the eyes. This has nothing to do with detail. It's all about proportion. It's all about getting the eyes, nose, mouth, shape of the head, everything in the right place. That's all we're concerned about. Start with one of the eyes. Very simple shape. Other eye. A general rule of thumb, if you're looking at a person straight on, eyes are approximately an eye distance apart. But keep in mind that's a general rule. Some eyes could be much closer or much further apart. Okay, we have the eyes in, okay? The next principle I want to talk about are plumb lines. Plumb lines are just straight lines that run up and down or across your canvas or your board. And I'm going to use those to establish the width of the nose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 90 degree, I'm going to take a straight line, I'm going to line it up with the side of the nose, and I'm going to see where it hits in relationship to the eye. I go like that, I see that it hits right about there at that tear duct, so I come straight down, put a mark. Go to the other side, and see that it hits just a little bit outside of the tear duct, come down, put a mark. And from there, we could just simply place the nostrils using this point as the bottom of the nose. The nostrils appear about there, one about there. Okay, so now we have the length and the width of the nose established. Next will be the lower half of the face and the mouth. Now, before I place the mouth, I want to determine if this proportion is correct. Okay, now this is called relative measurement. This is the part where people get a little bit confused. Okay? We know that this proportion is correct. We know the height from here to here is correct, and the width from here to here is correct. So what we need to do is determine the distance between the bottom of the nose and the chin. And what we're going to do is we're going to measure. Okay? So if I put my arm out straight, I'm going to take the tip of the brush, place it at the bottom of her nose, and my thumb will move down to her chin. I'll go like this. I move my thumb down to her chin, and I have a measurement of this proportion. Now I move it up to where my thumb is now at the bottom of her nose, and I see the top of the brush hits right below the eyebrow. Now we don't have her eyebrow in, but we can easily estimate by quickly getting that in. Okay? So what this is telling me is that the distance from here to here is exactly the same as from here to here. Okay? So all we have to do is go like this with our brush, take this measurement, bring it down, and we see that the chin ends pretty much where I have it, which is good. Like I said, sometimes it changes. Sometimes you might find, well, you have to shorten the chin or you have to lengthen the chin. But at least you know it's precise. Now that we have the chin established and we know it's in the right place, now we can better judge where to place the mouth. Now, no measurement involved. Now I'm just visually looking at the space above the mouth and the space below the lower lip. Actually, with this type of Rembrandt lighting on her face, we can actually utilize that shadow being casted from the nose, okay, because it's two angles. So if we take that cast shadow from the nose, take the angle, and then take a plumb line from where it hits the lip and see where it hits in relationship to the nose, we know the mouth is about that far away. from the nose. I know, it's kind of like a math class, right? Now, starting with the upper lip, I'm going to get in the basic shape. I'm going to run my plumb lines for the width. I'm going to line up at the corner of the mouth, see where it hits in relationship to the eye. I see it hits right in the center of the iris, which will approximately be there, about there. Come down, put a mark. Other side of the mouth, outside of the iris, which will be about there. Come down, put a mark. Now we have the width. Back to the upper lip. Remember, very simple shapes. Just getting everything placed correctly. Okay, so now we have the eyes, nose, mouth established. Now we can start to develop just a little bit more. Eyebrow, 2 angles, 1, 2. Note where that angle breaks in relationship to the eye. I'm going to start putting in some of these shadow planes. Okay, now before I go any further, I'm going to go back to the outside shape of the face. I'm going to start over here, and first of all, I'm going to look at the distance between here and recheck it. And I see that it needs to come out just a little bit further. Now, unfortunately, I just toned this board this morning, so when I wipe this off, we'll probably end up going down to the white of the board. So just try and ignore that. But normally, that's how you would wipe out a line. So we're going to bring this out a little bit further. And this is actually good that I have to change this because I want to talk about angles and where they break. And this is how you get the shape of the head around the features correct. So we have one angle here, and we have one angle here. What we want to find is where these angles intersect. Okay? So we have one, and we see that they intersect right below the eye, right about here. So that's telling me that this one comes out to here, so the whole thing comes out just a little bit further. I could line it up again, check my angle, come down. We have another angle that intersects here, and we see those two intersect right about at the lower lip. And we come down. And again, you could run these vertically. And basically, you work your way around the head. Correcting shapes. One last thing with relative measurement. On an adult, you'll find that eyes are, another general rule, eyes are about the center of the head, equal distance below and above. But we're going to measure to be sure. So I'm going to measure from the corner of the eye to the top of the head. My thumb is now at her tear duct, and the top of the brush is at the very top of her head. I bring that down, my thumb is now at her chin, and I see the top of the brush hits right around where the eyebrow is. So again, it's telling me the distance from here to the top of her head is exactly the same as from her chin to about her eyebrow. So we just go like this. Take our measurement, bring it up to the tear duct, and that's telling us the top of the head is right there. You could do the same thing for the hairline. Go from the corner of the eye to her hairline, where it meets the flesh. Take a measurement, bring it down, and we see that it's the same from the chin to a little bit above that highlight on the tip of the nose. So it's telling us the distance from here to here is the same as from here to about there. We'll go like this, go like this, and we just come down a little bit lower, and now we have that right. Okay, so I would continue in this fashion, placing the ears, plumb line going across, horizontal plumb line, top of the ear, bottom of the ear, And you could place the ear that way. Get her hair in. And once you have everything in the right place, then you come back and then we would proceed to define this eye, correct the shape a little bit, but it's oil, so we're mainly going to do that with the paint. This is just about getting your proportions correct. Well, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed it. See you soon. Thank you.